do is just take a step back. Given that my organisation looks across all of the sectors, and looks at the time period right up to 2050 and beyond, I want to provide some broad context. First of all, about why we should act on climate change, why we should be trying to reduce emissions here in the UK. A lot of people think at the moment we shouldn't be doing that, particularly given the economic circumstances. Second, I want to think about the opportunities to reduce emissions and where biogas fits in there, and where AD fits in. And third, how are we actually doing, and what are the challenges for the new government? What are we talking with the government about at the moment? So, I first of all start very quickly with the case for action, and I think there's two aspects to that, or two sets of questions that people raise at the moment. First of all, it's science, and the second is what's happening internationally. So, on both of those, and again I'm going to talk in Ron's expert area, so I won't elaborate too much. The science of climate change, as we know, there's been a lot of controversies over the last year raised in the context of the University of East Anglia, first of all, and then the IPCC. And I think these controversies are important. They have to be taken seriously. They have been taken seriously. And the inquiries have found actually the fundamental science of climate change is robust, notwithstanding these controversies. So climate change is happening. It's highly likely that climate change is a result of human activity. If we don't do anything, then we're exposed to very significant risks of adverse impacts for human welfare. But we have an opportunity, if we act now, reducing emissions, to mitigate those risks, to mitigate the risk of very dangerous climate change. So that's the first thing I want to say. The science is robust. Forget those controversies, it still stands. Second thing, in the last year, there was a lot of disappointment after the Copenhagen international discussions. So everybody there wanted to get a legally binding agreement to reduce global emissions in the period to 2020 and something around 2050 as well, and that didn't happen. The expectations were high going into Copenhagen, and it didn't deliver, and there was a great deal of disappointment after that. But I don't think it's a negative story. So we see what's happened in the meantime since Copenhagen. So in 2010, there's a number of positive things, and I think the first is the Copenhagen Accord. This was agreed at Copenhagen, and the countries were supposed to come forward at the beginning of this year with commitments on emissions reductions that they would make in the period to 2020, and they've done that. And if you add those commitments up, if you look at what the States and China and India and other countries have committed